Rockstar. The promise I have, although this might be just scratching the surface, is that if you have a company called Rockstar, at least you get to grow your hair and wear black clothing and make a lot of noise. So my promise to you is I'm going to make a lot of noise. And you can interrupt me anytime, disrupt me, whatever you call it. But if you want to ask me a question, just raise your hand and I'll try and address it. And if you want to wait until the end, that's fine too. We love startups. So Rockstar is all about the love for startups, not for the companies, not for the equity, not for the money, not for the whole boom, but it's about the message of promise and hope that startups spread, because they all kind of step forward, start doing stuff, and it might not work, and it might. But the good news is that at least you're doing something or you're working on something. So we love what they stand for, startups. My name is Oscar Kneppers, this is my Twitter handle, and I founded this company a little over 6 years ago. We have 30 minutes on the why, the how, and the what of startups and what you can learn from them. And the thing with the 30 minutes is I added some over 75 slides. I have 3 movies, and it needs to be done in 30 minutes, so we'll go fast. And I'll try to do it as fast as I can. And again, if you want to interrupt me, take your time. This is the one slide. So if I have to cut down everything to this one slide, this is the one slide. I guess that what we do is we help people get out of the comfort zone where it's nice and warm and comfy, and you have your salary and your car and everything is kind of taken care of. And what we try to do is to inspire people, or sometimes pull them or push them or even kick them out of their comfort zone, just to let them see what it means to, if you get out of your comfort zone and you step out of that, you'll enter this sea of abundance where everything seems to be happening for a reason and everything flows. So that is where the magic happens, and I'll dive into that later. We've been around for over 5 years. We celebrated that in style early spring. This is our new CEO, so we celebrated in style. And this is somebody else's girlfriend, so this was a really good rock and roll party. I brought my daughter, that's her on the left, and finally, you could not see it, but my hair was like this. So finally I could go back to when I was 12, 13 years old. It was a great rock party. Anyway, but first, why am I here? Why is there a thing called Global Entrepreneurship Week? Why am I speaking at many events? It is because 500 million entrepreneurs are building companies and are working in young companies and are attracted to building companies. So why is that? What's going on? Everything around us is changing, and I guess that the main thing is, if you look around yourself, everything is changing. And in order to address the why of Rockstar, I wrote a manifesto, which I wrote a little over 5 years ago, and put it out, because before I had anything, like Sergio mentioned, there was no business plan. I just had the name. I bought the domain name, and I started writing a manifesto based on the books I read, the quotes I loved, the documentaries I loved, and the people that inspired me. And I asked someone to help me with it, and that's the Rockstar Manifesto. And it's a short animation that gives you the feel of the Rockstar why. And I guess it resonates still. It resonates after 5 years, and it resonates all over the world. So this is the Rockstar Manifesto.
Look around you. Everything is changing. Companies, countries, structures, how people work, it's all in flux. We love it. Here's why. We're entering exciting times in an exploding entrepreneurial society. You thought corporations, banks, governments were looking after us? Well, they didn't. You want security? Safety? Stop looking around you. Find it here and now, in yourself. Take charge of your own destiny. This incredible time has made entrepreneurship attractive and more available than ever. It leads to endless opportunities for those ready to grasp it. Go on. Luckily, this change forces us to adopt an adventurous spirit, embrace change, love risk, live with uncertainty. We need to jump into the great unknown, look for adventure, seek out our own opportunities. Like the original explorers pioneered their way across seas and continents, we are faced with few compass points. Pioneers choose struggle. We choose a new route as yet uncharted. This is our adventure. We need to be part of it, to drive it, play with it, start it. When do we grow? Failure pushes us forward. Failure forces us to act. We believe in the power of failure. There's nothing wrong with it, so long as it's fully stretched and undeniably complete. What's worse? The feeling that you should have done more. Keep going. Entrepreneurial spirit is focused on you, doing your thing your way. That's why we love startups. All startups. Starting a company makes you a pioneer, a hero in the making. Startups are challengers, innovators, tenacious, risk-positive, visionary, driven, strong. We've pioneered our way to where we are today. We're here to give you rock-solid support in the first 1,000 days. We help you grow by pushing you forward. To start and proceed takes courage. It takes guts, madness even. You take a leap of faith and create your space to challenge, make, build, develop, experiment, construct, and thrive. Now that's why we love you. Step forward. Start.
So step forward, start. I guess that the one thing is to not talk, but step forward and start. You will find this later. This is Rockstar mantra number 1. The last one is the most exciting one. I'll keep that for the latest. Step forward, start. That's the essence of what we do. Our mission is no smaller than to build the world's greatest startup machine. And this is, I guess, that many things start with a dream and this feeling or this urge. And the one thing you do is try to make it as big as you can. And that's what we call the big, hairy, audacious goal. Many of you have read about it or heard about it. The big, hairy, audacious goal is this one thing you want to achieve, but you might not. And it feels like you have to overstretch to get there. But the big, hairy, audacious goal kind of scares you. And I jolted this down 6 years ago. This is the mission, build the greatest startup machine ever built. And still it kind of makes me nervous, but that is a good thing, I guess. Build the world's greatest startup machine. Why startups? People ask, startups have no money. Why would they? They need help, obviously, but how can you build a business around startups? When I started, I didn't know. I just knew that probably if I'm able to add some value in someone's life, it is my responsibility as an entrepreneur to find out how to make money with that. Because if you add value, there is value, and there is value to be built. So why startups? I said, I don't have the answer. The only thing I know, startups are like the rock bands in business. They're small teams, they have a huge ambition, and they never started for the money. Sometimes they do, but they typically won't succeed. The thing is, if you think about doing a startup because of the money, you will probably make no money at all. Startups are like the rock bands in business. Small teams, huge vision, and they start in small rooms like this, and they might succeed and they might not. And that's the feeling of being scared like that. Every band on every stage has that at the beginning. So how do we help? We started like building thingies that we thought make sense that startups need. And if you ask an entrepreneur what he or she needs, they probably say, I know everything. Just give me your money and I'll get going. And the thing is, it's not always the case. So they might need some money, but they need a couple of things they always need, right? Where we are right now, IMAGURU, although I heard this morning, it's called I'm a Guru. That's where it came from. Anyway. Workspace focused on needs. Everything you need in a place where people need fast internet, good coffee, connections, etc. And the connections is the peer-to-peer mentoring. If you have a place where people build companies, in every stage of, let's say, the first 2 or 3 years, they feel vulnerable, excited, scared, all that. They help each other. And that peer-to-peer structure, that is really strong. We call that the Wagamama effect. Wagamama is this chain of restaurants, and you sit next to someone you don't know. But what you know is if you're sitting next to someone you don't know, you get into a conversation, and people start helping each other. That's the peer-to-peer. Unlocking networks. We have mentors. We have the people in the room. We have our team. People attending like this, meetings like this. If you ask an entrepreneur if he or she has time for you, they will always say yes, although they are really busy, but they will help you. And I guess that unlocking the networks is that. Mentor support, we have a lot of mentors, access to capital and sometimes capital, and a lot of knowledge. And I guess that this is the Rockstar cocktail. This is the stuff that we add. So what did we do the last couple of years? We launched 6 products and services, two failed, or at least didn't stick at the moment, four did. So Rockstars Accelerator, that's what we're the most known for. Rockstars Spaces, Answers, and Impact. Let me flip through them. Rockstars Accelerator, we'll be talking accelerators later today. An accelerator is a short program designed to have you make every single mistake that you make in the first 2 or 3 years made in this pressure cooker, in this closed environment where you're able to make all those mistakes in a short amount of time without stumbling over, because not every mistake needs to be fatal, and in an accelerator it's really controlled. So we've run 10 accelerators in 3 verticals. We now have it's now 98 companies, and this is some of the stats. I'll send you the slides later if you want. It is a family of a lot of nationalities. 7 out of 10 people that come to our accelerators in the Netherlands are not from the Netherlands. They raise a lot of money. Acceleration, we'll go into that later on. So what we've always said, it needs to be innovation-driven, technology-oriented, and globally scalable. And it needs to be something that solves a big issue. So we're learning a lot from technology, but we're adding that, or so we're applying that to big issues: food, health, and energy. That makes a lot of sense. If you spend your time on building companies, why would you spend or waste your time on building a company that's just doing apps for, I don't know, dating? Which is fine, it's all good. But the thing is, if you're able to build companies that solve real issues, then you have a purpose that keeps you going a longer time. So web, mobile is where we learn the stuff. Smart energy, digital health, and food is next. That's what we're launching soon. To give you an example, this is what it feels like, an accelerator.
This is probably one of the biggest adventures I've ever been on.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Inspiring.
Accomplish even more than they ever would believe they would be able to do in such a short time.
Rockstars Accelerator. Rockstars Answers. It's a setting like this. So entrepreneurs need sleep, but it's really hard to sleep if you have this big issue that's really keeping you awake at night. This one question that really is the one big issue. And so what we do is, instead of just pitching a story and trying to raise money or something, have entrepreneurs share their number one question, the biggest challenge, the stuff that keeps them awake at night, present it to the audience, and ask the audience for input. It's a Q&A format. Rockstars Answers is, we've done it in many places. It's hands-on help from experienced entrepreneurs. It's people like you who are able to share something with someone standing on stage. So we did it in 28 cities now. This is an old one. We did a lot of them. We help thousands of entrepreneurs kind of tapping into the system. And we're now expanding into South America, and we see that everywhere we go, this format, we don't make any money with it. It's really, it's not really expensive, but it's a great way to spread the word of building a company. So we did it in many places, and some of them even really close. We just skipped one country, I see. Anyway, Rockstars Spaces, well, it's a place like this. It's just another building in another place, but it's vibrant. And if you're ever in Amsterdam, and I mean it, you're always welcome to join us, to come in and be a part of it. It's pretty big. There's a lot of people, a lot of companies of many countries, and this is like the workspace designed for people to help companies. Anyway, Rockstars Impact is everything we learn in the programs that we have, put it at work, in this case in Nepal. In Nepal we run a program that's just impact oriented. So it's innovation driven, but it's locally scalable and impact oriented. It's not about technology, it's a mix. It's like agriculture, it's coffee, it's technology, it's even security, but it's all building, helping people build their local structure. And the thing with impact is we see that every entrepreneur speaks the same language. Although we have many, many different languages, the main language is a message of hope and love for what startups stand for. So if you're ever in Kathmandu, I've never been there. We have a great team there, but Kathmandu is really super vibrant, as you can see. So it doesn't work. So the big question always was, so yeah, no money, startups, a lot of hassle, they don't have money to pay the rent, etc., etc. Well, it does. It does work. We now have 98 startups to date, and some you might know, and some didn't make it. I guess that if you look at the overall Silicon Valley statistic is 8 out of 10 startups fail within 3 years, more or less, in the technology sector. Looking back for the last 5 years in every program that we did, including the latest 10 companies failed from the 98 that we have, or 12. So statistically, we're on the high end of succeeding, at least in their survival rate to get them to the next level of funding. Innovation-driven, technology-oriented, globally scalable. Sounds all like abstract and data-driven, but it's about love. It is about the love for what people do, the risk they take, and the kind of help they need. And I guess the face of love and the heartbeat of Rockstars, the software of who we are the mentors. And the mentors is, I don't know the structure here, but mentors drive people to the next level. And it's about sharing their network. It's about helping them with giving their insights. And mentorship, that is the main thing that drives, I guess, accelerators. So we'll get into that in the next part of the program. If you want to know more about mentorship, etc. And as long as I'm here today, I'll be a mentor, so let me know if I can help. We've done that for 5 years. We're expanding globally, and we're doing fine, so what? Big deal. This was nice promo, interesting story, nice music, but okay, what the hell are you listening to this? I guess that the thing is that if you work with startups every day, there's a lot of stuff you can learn from it. We heard SAP this morning. We have many big companies coming to Rockstars and trying to connect to startups because there's so much to be learned from startups. And I try to kind of put it in the 5 Rockstars mantras, which are really simple. Sometimes it's kicking in an open door, but it's easy to remember. It's the 5 mantras help us kind of make clear decisions in where you are. So these are the 5 ones. I'll flip through them later. And again, my email address is at the end. You can send it to me with the mantras. Number 1, step forward, start. So I always say it is more comfortable where you are sitting right now than where I am standing. And the thing is, this is what it means to get out of your comfort zone. If you get out of your comfort zone, you have to step forward and claim your space. Say what your plan is. Instead of, so when I started my first company in 98, 97, I started writing, everyone did it like that. So we don't have garages in Amsterdam where I live, but we do have attics. So you locked yourself up in an attic. You wrote for months in a row on a business plan, this thick. I made it beautiful and super graphs, and I thought, this will take off as soon as I walk into a bank. So I walked into a bank, and I didn't get any funding at all. And this was the recipe for everyone I knew. You build a business plan, you went into a bank, and you didn't get money. So now what? So you have to do it a different way. And the good thing about today is, and we heard Sergio talk about that also, just build something, start doing something. So step forward, start, and this is the thing. Get out of your comfort zone and start working on something. And to give you a good example, this guy on the left is Brian Garrett, a Dutch guy, and he had a solid job at a 3D printing manufacturing company. They were developing real kick-ass super printers, and he had a good job, and he had a car and a salary and all that. But he had also this vision of, if we would hook up every 3D printer in the world, like Airbnb hooks up rooms and space, I could get the biggest network of 3D printers around the world and use that idle capacity of printers standing still all day. Because what happens, you buy a printer, you use it a little, and then it's there doing nothing. And if you kind of can make money with it and unlock this idle capacity, then you have something that in his vision was 3D hubs. And he told us later that this photo was taken during the process of the selection days at the Rockstar 2013. And these were all people waiting to get selected. None got in, except for him. We didn't know back then when this photo was made, but he later said, I decided to get out of my comfort zone, even if I wouldn't make it through the application, because he decided, whatever happens, I'll take the step forward and get out of my comfort zone. So this was his vision. A year later, he raised 4.5 million with some good VCs from the UK. And then 2 years later, he connected over 22,000 printers, and today there are over 35,000 printers, and they're in more countries than McDonald's has restaurants. They just moved out of our building. They're now 50 people in size, and I guess their valuation is somewhere between 20 and 30 million. It's an example of what it means, what acceleration does, but also what it means to get out of your comfort zone, and that's where the magic happens, right? So step forward, start. He did it. The second one is, we heard it, we just discussed it here, teams. We don't look at ideas. We look at ideas just to assess if we can be of help, but it is all about the teams. It's team up. Don't do it alone. And it's also way more fun. Look at it. Can I get some audio, please?
Make it better, or should I be working on it right now?
Staying up late, finishing your work, and then wake up early again.
Many times it's kind of like scaling a mountain, but it's all foggy, so you don't really know where you're going or when it's going to end. Every now and then you sort of reach like a high patch where you get to see the view of everything you've done so far.
As you grow and as your company grows, I think that's when you start committing more and more. It is like falling in love in that way.
So it's really good to see that they actually help each other with tools, with knowledge, and grow from there.
Pitches are starting to get there, but it's not nearly what it should be at the end of the day.
They know where they need practice, and that's what they should do, put their hearts in it.
There's a room full of people that came out to see you, so you're there for them. Go on stage, have a lot of fun, but make it very clear that you have a great story and a great pitch, and then it will be a great day.
Giving up? No, not a chance.
Of course not.
No, never.
Never.
Rock the stage.
I love his quote, giving up, never. We're pirates. I love this guy. He's still with us. He's a great guy. Okay, the dream team. So we heard about, okay, what people do you need in a team? It's the triple H team. So the short version is you need a hacker, a hipster, and a hustler. So the hacker is the engineer, obviously. The hipster is the one looking like me with the Mac and making it all look great, the designer. And the hustler is the salesperson, the one that sells it. So the hacker, the hipster, and the hustler. It's easy to remember, right? A good friend of mine invented Netflix, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. He really had fantastic ideas, but he never made it because he didn't stop talking. It's not him, but it could be him, right? Every one of you knows this person. It could be you, and if you're honest, you know this, right? Sometimes you do this. You just keep talking and talking, I should have, and when I have the money, and if the weather is good. People always talk about climate, and they say, don't you think the climate in Silicon Valley is better? And I say, yeah, in the Netherlands we have a lot of rain, and if in Silicon Valley it's sunny. No, I mean the other climate. No, yeah, but that's exactly what I'm saying. If you need more sun, go to the sun. You can stick wherever you are because it's not always better somewhere else. There is a lot of funding in Silicon Valley, but there's also a lot of competition. Stop talking, start building. Don't make up ideas and just start building. Stop talking, start building. Third mantra. Talking about building. Some of you, maybe many of you, have read The Lean Startup. The Lean Startup is the Bible, more or less, that we use for every single thing that you encounter while building a company. And the build, measure, learn cycle, this is the main thing, I guess, right? You build something, you go out, you measure the results, you rebuild, you learn from that, you You have new assumptions and you start building again, you experiment, etc. Build, measure, learn, that is the cycle. And you can start a company in 5 days. So start building something, measure what you do, everything that you do, start A/B testing, etc., etc. Learn and build again until you kind of think this is the MVP, the minimal viable product, and now we're going to go out. Build, measure, learn. Talking about learning, I guess that the one word I learned building this company was this, pivot. I never heard about this word, but pivot is the ability to kill your darlings, to get rid of everything that you learned before and to step out of the stuff that you've done so far and pivot. Change your business model, change your approach, change the packaging, the name, the team, be able to change everything. Learn, pivot, and start over. And start over doesn't feel so well. It feels like this. It feels like hell. God damn fuck. This is what it feels like. If you have to start over again, it really sucks. But if you start over again, you get rid of everything that you've been carrying around. In the Netherlands, we have this expression of like pulling a dead horse. I don't know if you understand it, but pulling a dead horse, like trying to get a dead horse from its place. It's impossible. Get rid of it and keep going. Okay. So it brings me to the last Rockstars mantra, which is by far my favorite. Keep up. I guess that many people think, whether you're quit smoking or trying to learn something new or build a company or trying to convince your parents that it is time to move out of the house, whatever it is, keep up. And I guess I've seen some corners of the room and building 3 companies in my life, and I always came to a point that I knew, this is it. I can't take it anymore. I can't sleep. I can't provide for my family. I'm done. I'm unmotivated. I'm so tired. And then you can keep up for another half year without the money you thought you needed, etc. Keep up and keep going. And to end this presentation, I'll show you a short movie of an entrepreneur that really inspired me and still does, which is not the typical entrepreneur, but he has some great quotes on what it means to keep going. So look at the movie, it's nice and it's sort of inspiring. It always still gives me goosebumps, but the thing is, his quotes are really relevant, so listen to him. One of the things he says, I had to learn new stuff, I had to keep going and had to risk myself. And this is Tony Hawk.
Pressure has certainly made me perform better. The only way to get recognized was through competition. A lot of people will reach the top of their ranks and then they just cruise. I had to learn new stuff. I had to keep going. I had to risk myself. That's why I started trying 900s. To me, that was the holy grail. A 900 is a skateboard trick. It's basically a 2.5 spin in the air. The X Games came around 1999 and they had a best trick event. 20 minutes on the ramp, do your best trick. While I was doing it, I didn't care if it counted. I didn't care if there were no people there. I was either gonna make that thing or I was gonna get taken out in an ambulance. I think that's what separates the people who succeed and the people who don't. Those who can really do it when it absolutely counts and pull it out when it seems like all odds are against you. I didn't believe I had made it until I saw everyone rushing around. And that's when I realized that it is. It's not a competition, it's time-based. You just make it happen, you kind of force it. Sometimes you get hurt, but that's the best way to get hurt.
In case you missed that last one, sometimes you get hurt, but it's the best way to get hurt. Thanks for your attention. Send me an email, I'll send you the slides if you want to. This is our Rockstar Twitter handle, and thanks for your attention, and stick around for the accelerator session. Thanks.